Alright, hello again. This will be the fourth video. We're going to do our back legs of our stepladder, which come down here. So we'll start a sketch. We select that outside face of one of the front legs. We'll view that front on, zoom so you can see the whole thing, and we're going to select the line tool. Before we draw using the line tool, we're going to also select the construction tool. So we've got two tools selected, the construction tool and the line tool. We're going to start in this bottom corner and draw across. Make sure we get the horizontal line icon, or maybe it'll come up with a parallel line icon so it's parallel with the bottom of that step. And click. Now we're going to switch off the construction line, so it'll go back to drawing a solid line, and we come up, so it kind of looks like a triangle. We're going to come up to that bottom point of the support board, click. I'm just going to zoom in here. We want to get this line perpendicular to that last line we drew. So it should be coming off like so. You don't want it parallel to that edge. We want it perpendicular, so it should highlight that last line we drew and get the perpendicular icon. And click. I'm going to zoom back and draw this right down to this bottom line and touch that construction line we drew, and we'll finish at the point where we started the solid line. Our shape's wrong at this stage, so we need to set some parallel lines. So we're looking for the parallel line tool, and we want this line here to be parallel with that line, and it will adjust itself. Don't be too concerned about that overlapping just yet, because our next step is that we get our dimension tool and we make from that line to that line, and click, and we'll make that 18. So that looks better. Last thing we need to do is set the length from this point up to this point. Move the cross. We need to make that 800, and it should adjust the angle like so. This needs to be perpendicular to that. So if it's not perpendicular yet, you can select the perpendicular tool and select this one, and it'll make it perpendicular. Alright, that sketch is finished. Oh no, it's not. So if you inadvertently tick that, go and look for the sketch down here, the last sketch you drew, and double click. We're going to zoom into this top edge here. This time we're going to select up near the rectangle tool, not the corner rectangle, not the center rectangle, but an aligned rectangle, and click on it. And somewhere on this skinny top edge, you're going to start your rectangle. Make sure it doesn't snap to the midpoint. So you'll get a midpoint icon, so make sure you don't start it there. So click once. Come down, I've got a perpendicular icon, that's good. You might get a parallel to this line icon, like that. Click, come across, and this is our last point. So just move across there. We'll dimension this up. So the width of this rectangle, so between those two lines, is going to be 6. Distance of this rectangle to the edge is also going to be 6. The length of our rectangle, so from this top edge to the skinny bottom edge, and click again, is going to be 65. Okay, now we're going to move down towards the bottom of our leg there, and we're going to again choose the aligned rectangle tool, and somewhere inside this space, make sure you're not selecting against edges but just between the two edges, click once. We want to get the parallel line icon so it's parallel to that existing edge, click, and then our last click inside that space there, and we're going to set our size with the dimension tool. Same as before, the width between those two is going to be 6. The distance from the outside edge is also going to be 6. And the distance from the top edge to the bottom edge of that rectangle again needs to be 65. One more dimension we need, it needs to be 200 up from the bottom. So we go from the bottom of this rectangle here down to the point, so make sure you hit the point, move across, click it in place and type 200. It will adjust. So we've got, they will be our mortise joints. Tick to finish that sketch. I'm going to orbit so I can see the 3D view. We're going to extrude, and we need to select this rectangle, and it shouldn't select those new rectangles that we drew in there. If it does, if for instance that ended up solid, click inside that rectangle and it should select or deselect. So our direction's wrong, it needs to be going in the opposite direction. So this arrow up here in our dialog, we click that so it's going the other direction, and we type in our depth at 65. It should be a new part, and tick. And I'm just going to rename that to back leg 1. Alright, we need to draw another one over here. Again, we can use that mirror tool. So look for the mirror tool up in the top toolbar. We want it to be a part mirror. The entities to mirror is the back leg, so we can click on the back leg or we can click it here. So either in the part list or on our drawing. So click that, mirror plane. So let's click up here in the mirror plane, and we're going to look for plane 1 again, that plane that we used for a mirror ages ago. And there you go, that looks correct. And tick, we've got our 2 back legs. Let's rename this one, of course, back leg 2. Alright, that's it for this video. Our next video we'll draw in our braces there.